There are three things non-negotiable in our Indian culture: engineering, property, and marriage. It's like the middle class rule book, don't you agree? And how many of you are engineers here? I am, to begin with. Anyway, I can't advise on engineering or on marriage, not my field of expertise, but I can definitely advise on property purchase. And that is what this video is going to be all about: when to buy, how much should you spend, how much loan to take, and all those steps that you have to undertake before you buy your first property. Hang on. Nowadays, properties cost a bomb, and there are several reasons for it. The top four are: one, of course, is the price of the land and construction itself. Second is the increased lifestyle standards. We like to have bigger and luxurious homes. Third is our willingness to pay for community benefits like gardens, green spaces, like-minded people, etc. And fourth, the importance of convenience. Right? For example, it's okay to pay a few lakhs more if it is nearer to a school or if it is near to our workplace. So for the purpose of this video, I am going to consider that you are smart, that you have a job, and this is going to be your first property purchase. Step number one, you always need to think that this is your first one, not the last one. And this kind of a mindset is very essential for you to make the right decision. In all probabilities, you are going to buy another property 15 or maybe even 10 to 15 years down the line. Your family is going to get bigger. You may move from one place to another, or you may just become a better executive, or you may have an excellent career growth. So this is not going to be your last property, and that mindset is extremely essential when you invest in your first home. At the end of the day, you don't want to block all the money, all the resources, and all your efforts to find your first property, is it not? Number two, don't jump priorities. This is how you should prioritize. First and foremost is your health insurance. The next is your emergency fund, about 3 to 4 months of your living expenses. And then comes all the other financial goals that you have. Now imagine, emergency funds and health insurance are absolutely mandatory. If you have a home but you don't have enough to pay for medical or for emergency purposes, what is the point in having a home? Think about it, right? And check out my check out my health insurance video here if you want any more advice on health insurance. Step number 3 is to maintain a good credit score, and by good credit score I mean a score above 750. You know what happens when you have a score above 750? You can borrow from nationalized banks. Their interest is less than the private banks. Their interest is less than the national NBFCs. And in turn, their interest is lesser than the regional NBFCs. Right? So a good credit score will help you borrow with lower rates of interest. Even if you end up paying 1% more interest, it translates to about 8 lakhs over the whole tenure of your loan, and you don't want to waste money. So start looking at your credit score right from the beginning, and check out my video right here on how to have a good credit score. Step number 4, what should be the size of your EMI? Now remember, your EMI should be a percentage of your household income, and typically that percentage is 40%. And when I say household income, it means the income of you and the income of your spouse put together. That is what we call as household income, and your EMI should not exceed 40%. 45% is the outer limit. I mean, you should not have a EMI greater than 45% at all. Otherwise, you'll be in deep shit trouble. And there are many reasons for it, right? Because we are in a day and age where the interest rates are floating. So when the interest rates increase, your EMI may increase and stuff like that. So make sure that you don't exceed 40 is okay, 45% outer limits, not more than that. Step number 5, the size of your down payment. Remember, you need to have about 20 to 25% of your total property's budget as your down payment, and that doesn't mean that it is only for funding your property, but the reasons are in four. One is because you need to make that initial payment. Second is about 11% has to be paid for registration cost. Third is that you also have to do the interiors, right? I mean, all of the soft furnitures and soft furnishings. This is going to be your first home, so there is a bit of emotional attachment that you are going to have, and you need some amount of money towards furnishing and interiors. And again, the last item is that you also have to do a housewarming ceremony. Now what happens is, all these may look as small expenses, but when they add up, they are significantly higher. So make sure that you have about 20 to 25% of your total property budget as your down payment, as your contribution towards your first purchase. Step number 6 is to consider your options. There are many options that are available, and few of them is what I'm listing down below. You can buy a land and then construct as per your taste, or you can buy a pre-built house, either new or old, or you can even buy a apartment, either which is under construction or which is ready to occupy. Each have their own distinct advantages and disadvantages. Some may offer you better design, some may offer you better fitment into your budget, some may offer better communities. The cost of some may be higher, the cost of the others may be lower. Some of these options also offer better loan funding. Typically when you go for apartment, there is higher loan funding than when you go for land and buildings. So you will have to do your research right. And when do you have to start this research? About 6 months before you buy. Don't do it 1 year ago, don't do it 2 years ago, don't do it 3 years ago. Not of much use. You need to start doing this research about 6 months before you buy. Step number 7, builder and bank tie-ups. Most of these builders nowadays have tie-ups with banks. These banks pre-approve, which means they complete all the legal validation of the project beforehand, and that is how these banks with whom the builder has tied up are able to process your loan much faster. And that's why the sales guys say, sir, our project is pre-approved by this bank. Don't fall for that trap. Always compare the rate of interest offered by this bank with the rate of interest of a nationalized bank, someone like State Bank of India or Bank of Baroda, banks like them. Compare them. If the interest rate difference is greater than 0.5%, then it is better off that you stick to a nationalized bank, and it will certainly pay you forward. Step number 8. Now the big question comes, how much should I save and where should I save? Now, if I consider that your one and only objective is to buy a home, that's your only financial goal, there is nothing else that you have in front of you apart from buying your home, then this is where you should save your money. If you plan to buy within 3 years, put all of the money that you want to save either in a recurring deposit or a low duration debt mutual fund. If you plan to buy within 3 to 5 years, invest in a category of mutual funds called the conservative hybrid funds. If your tenure is between 5 to 7 years, then invest in balanced hybrid funds. And if you are going to buy a property after 7 years, invest half of it into aggressive hybrid funds and the remaining half of it into large cap mutual funds. Now let's say if you have about 10,000 every month that you save towards buying a home, this is how that 10,000 is going to grow. Some people may say, why not chit funds? Absolutely fine. But before you do that, first watch this video. Now let's recap all our steps before we go to the last one. Begin with the right mindset. This is your first, not your last. Health insurance and emergency funds are must before buying a home. When you have a good credit score that is greater than 750, you will get loans with lower interest rates. Oversize is not good, not in health, not in EMI as well. Your EMI should be less than 45% of your household income. You need 20% of total property budget in your hand. Various options exist while buying. Choose the one that suits you as well as your situation. Ditch the builder tied up with the bank if you don't get a good deal, and choose where to save your money wisely so that you don't get screwed, so that you don't end up putting that in places where it shouldn't be. Now do all of these and you will see that you have satisfied the dream of every Indian, and the dream of your parents is to buy your first home. Yay! What do we say? Namma veedu, apna ghar, right? This was a long one, but I had to cover all of the basic items before I could, call it a video. So you have any questions, please write them in the comments below. And I have another video coming up. The next release is about part 2, the mistakes that you shouldn't do while you are buying or investing in real estate. So if you want to be notified of that release, make sure that you hit that subscribe button, and if you like this video, hit that like button. YouTube will show it to many more people. So friends, my name is Akash. I am the host of this channel where we speak about money, taxes and financial success. You stay safe, take care, and see you in the next one.